I hope you girls are happy. In my eyes, 2024 is going to be the year that female writers and directors, showrunners, took over. They finally got the big projects you've been asking for. Madam Web, The Acolyte, Venom, The Last Dance. You see a trend here? Are you girls happy now? You finally got what we've always had. You can realize that you aren't perfect. That when incompetent people are put in positions with a lot of money and influence, they can fuck up too. I actually took today off work, believe it or not. I woke up with the biggest migraine, must have slept crooked, my neck is in all sorts of pain, my head, my brain felt like there was a fog over it, not working. So, I got the whole day. Well, first thing I'll do is have a shower and I'll have a coffee and wake myself up. Now I've got the whole day ahead of me. What am I going to do? How can I fix my mental health? Oh, I got a good idea. I'll go see Venom 3 at 10:30 in the morning. I have no idea what I was expecting, really. I have had fun with the last two Venom movies. I think the first one is dreadfully boring and generic, and then Venom shows up, and it's a bit of fun. That back and forth between those two characters is a lot of fun. So the first movie, skip the first hour, and it's okay. The second one was just an odd experience. I remember I've only seen it once, but I was sitting there laughing for most of it, but also realizing it's just crap. It was directed by Andy Serkis, which doesn't give me hope for that Lord of the Rings movie he's making. But Let There Be Carnage was so odd that I couldn't really hate it, even though I could break that thing into a million pieces. So it's whatever. And I mean, honestly too, you just ruined Carnage. Like, that's just the worst iteration of Carnage, but we're not talking about that movie. Now we're talking about Venom 3, The Last Dance. What's it about? I don't know. Does it have a story? Not really. How are the characters, you ask? Characters? How's the writing? Look, best thing I can do with this review is give you my general consensus first. General thoughts, and then I took notes during the screening because I had to. I had to write things down that stuck out to me, and then I'll just go through my notes and we'll see what comes out of me during the process. You ready? So let's start with my general consensus. If you've seen my short video I put out today, you know this movie sucks. It's a big old piece of trash. It's bad. It's really, really bad. It's incoherent. It's poorly acted. There's no score. It looks so generic. There's nothing about this movie. It is so non-essential. It's like, why? Why did you bring us this movie? These Venom movies are popular, have made money. So you could have taken 3 more months to write something better, a week to write something better. But no, we got this. Of all the things, Sony, you've seen fans asking for, more crossover with Spider-Man. Hey, maybe Andrew Garfield could show up and this takes place in his universe. Anything. And you don't do that. You don't do it. You give us this. They introduce Null, the symbiote god who I'm not familiar with, right? He just has his head down and he appears in like 2 shots. Andy Serkis does his voice. Easy payday. And then that's it! The rest of the movie is Venom running away from this big, huge symbiote dog thing that can only see Venom when he is in full Venom form. Spoilers for later in the video, by the way. And that's it. And then they just run around for 90 minutes. The only positive thing I'll say about this movie is it is mercifully short. It doesn't waste too much of your time. It's really bad, uninspired. There is nothing about this movie that gives it a reason to exist. You know? It shouldn't exist. I wish it didn't exist. It's just bad. It's painful. It's not the worst Sony product I've seen. Madam Web was worse. However, if Madam Web, let's just say hypothetically, is a 1, this is a 1.5. It is not much better. And make sure you get excited to see Kraven the Hunter. Because with Sony's track record, wow, it's going to be good. Okay, let's go into my notes. So the first note I wrote was exposition. What I mean by that is every single character in this movie speaks in exposition. There is so much ADR when characters' mouths aren't shown on screen, telling the audience exactly what's happening. Like, here's a word we all don't use enough of anymore, and we should bring it back into popularity. I'm not retarded. Stop treating me like a retard. Okay? Just, oh my God, like seriously. A scientist would show up and look at a symbiote in a chamber and go, it's vulnerable to sound or fire. Like we haven't watched the last 2 fucking movies. The only reason I'm here is because those last 2 movies didn't totally offend me. I know. And it's just things like that, and that go on and go on. Remember, like, The Dark Knight Rises, the 3rd movie in the franchise. It relies on your knowledge of the previous 2 movies to push you into the 3rd story. It's a culminating story. Each Venom movie just feels like the first one again. Here it is. Here's everything you need to know. Now the plot can start. And this movie's the same. Every character talks in exposition. It is so grating. No one just talks. No one talks. The only people that talk is Eddie Brock, Tom Hardy to himself. That's the only stuff worth watching. The next note I took was the villain, which I sort of touched on before, so it's Null. He seriously is trapped in a throne chair, I guess. He's been trapped by the symbiotes once before, which means he can be beat, which means why do I fear this guy anyway? But he's not even like the villain. He sends the big symbiote dog thing to go chase Venom, and here's the worst part. So Venom has been turned into this MacGuffin, really. He has this thing called the Codex, which is just like ripped from Man of Steel. Like, give me the Codex. It's the same thing. Then they try to explain it. Doesn't make any sense. The Codex will give Null the freedom to escape his chair and then conquer Earth, I guess. So the big symbiote dog has to go get the Codex for Null, but can only see the Codex when Venom and Eddie Brock are like Venom, when they've transformed into Venom. Then it appears, and you see the vision of the dog. It's like in black and white, and the Codex beeps with a bright yellow flash, and I was like, what? Let's just think logically. You've got a creature here that's called a hunter. It hunts things, and it can only see in black and white? So there's multiple times throughout this movie where Venom is right there, Eddie Brock is right there in front of this hunter. All the hunter has to do is scoop it up, eat him, and then as soon as Venom transforms back into Eddie Brock, the bleeping yellow light goes away, and the big hunter is like, where the fuck did he go? Even though he's right in front of him. It's so stupid. How do people write that? Oh yeah, I'm Kelly Marcel, the writer-director. Oh, this is good. People are gonna love this. I should have done a female voice for that. Oh, this is so good. I can't wait to put women back 100 years. I want to speak on that Venom thing as well. So he's like a homing beacon to this symbiote dog when he transforms into Venom. Except he can appear out of Eddie's body and still talk to him. That doesn't trigger it. But then there's one point in the movie where, and it's in all the trailers, they go up to a horse and Venom turns into a horse. Fully transformed, it's just Venom horse. So, but then the Codex doesn't start bleeping when he's in Venom horse mode, even though he's fully out of his shell. That's a plot hole. That is a plot hole. I haven't been at this loss. I have not been at this much of a loss of words since Fast X, I think. It's unfathomable. I can't speak. I wrote next obvious characters, and I'm not quite sure what I meant by that, but I'm sure I meant something good at the time. I'm thinking maybe that characters are just so obvious, That's a bad guy. That's someone that's going to turn into a good person. That's that, and that's that. Just boring. Found in desert. What I meant by this is the bad military guy, Chiwetel Ejiofor, who, by the way, was good in 12 Years a Slave. Every other movie he's been in, I think he's a bad actor. I'm just going to say that. I think Chiwetel Chiwetel Ejiofor is a bad actor. He overacts. I never feel anything from him as an actor. He just does nothing for me. Got no star power at all. And I guess while I'm on that subject, the acting, there's a lady in here that plays a scientist. Oh! That's what I meant before. So there's this lady that plays a scientist. I hate this so much. That's what I meant by obvious characters. You see her, she's having a nightmare, and typical movie stuff. Someone's having a nightmare and it's 40 years on from the traumatic event they experienced, which they show in the flashback, but they're still dreaming about it 40 years on. Oh my God. And what we see is that her and her brother are on a beach, and a thunderstorm came over. She got struck by lightning, channeled it through into her brother. The brother died and she didn't. Okay, and so, and you see in the flashback, her brother was wearing this Roswell shirt because she works at Area 51. And she still wears that shirt 30-something years later, 20 years later, whatever. It's so obvious. Like, I get it. She's a scientist. And then every line out of her mouth is, my brother this, my brother that. I don't give a fuck about your brother. I saw him in a flashback. He had one line of dialogue. Why are you giving character development to this pathetic character? How about Eddie Brock? What happened to what's her name? Michelle Williams? What happened to her? Not even in this movie. Back to what I was saying before, they were found in the desert. Yeah, once the Chiwetel Ejiofor gets wind, we gotta go find Eddie Brock. He's somewhere in the desert here. He finds him in seconds. It just goes to this whole thing of what is this movie? What is this movie? I'm getting angry. I am not going to let Venom 3 frustrate me. I will not let Venom 3 win. The next thing I wrote down is that Venom is important, but is a loser. Now in this movie, Venom is fully aware that he has this MacGuffin inside him, right? That can unlock the god. Which would mean Venom is a pretty significant symbiote, right? If his whole race entrusted him to protect the Codex, he's got to be significant. But remember in the first movie, when Eddie talks to Venom for one of the first times or whatever, and Venom says, on my planet, I was a loser. I don't believe that. Venom must have been the president of Symbiote Planet. Why else would he have the Codex? Or is this just, again, these writers not knowing their own property and writing another plot hole? This next note is actually a quote from the film, and it made me laugh, it did. And I had to write it down because I'm going to use it from now on. So Venom at one point says, Lady Luck is a fickle slut. And I just thought that was funny. That's the kind of edgy shit I want to hear Venom say. That sounds like it's ripped straight out of the 90s. Give me more of that. That's funny. Venom dancing with Mrs. Chen? Funny for a second, but forgettable. Venom playing the slot machines? Funny in concept, but executed poorly. No, just give me Venom cursing the whole movie and calling people sluts. That's funny. Bonding process, ? Was my next note. At the end of this movie, spoiler alert, all the symbiotes that are captured at Area 51 get released, and every sort of main character we've been introduced to gets to touch one at some point. And they just symbiosis immediately. Remember the first movie where it infected people and rejected others and all that? Not here. I'm glad those writers got more money from that writer's strike. They deserve it. And then I wrote, cut to credits, tone. Now, this is the last thing I wrote because I couldn't get out of that theater fast enough. This is going to be spoilers as well, right? So, at the end of the movie, Venom dies. He sacrifices himself to stop the symbiote dog, kills himself, and essentially guarantees that Null won't escape his prison, right? Actually was touching because I like those characters, Eddie and Venom. Tom Hardy, when he wants to bring it, he brings it. He's crying, but it's not over the top. It's subtle. It's here's the heartbeat of the film. This should have been the final ride between two friends. But that's not what the movie was. Anyway, Venom does die. It's kind of an extended, sad sequence. It's scored terribly, by the way. The original soundtrack is really bad here. Fade to black, fade back, and there's a Maroon 5 song playing while Eddie's walking down the streets of New York reminiscing about all the good old times they had. And they only have like 4 clips to play because we barely saw them together in the last 2 movies. And it's just, the tone there just felt off. You go from this really kind of tragic sacrifice to cheesy, corny montage set to the worst song for that montage possible, to then Eddie Brock looks over the New York harbor, smash cut to credits, and some other song starts to play that's totally clashing with everything we've just led up to. And I sat there almost open-mouthed like, what? Even the most basic of decisions, like how do you smash cut to credits, they fucked up. Christopher Nolan is the god of smash cuts to credits. Each time Nolan wants to go to his credits, he's leading up to something. He's paying off all the themes and motivations set up in each movie he makes. Usually it's set to narration with an epic blasting soundtrack. And then, just as you're getting to the point of the peak of the climax, the crescendo of the music, it cuts away, cuts to black, and then the title comes up. And then you're sitting there like, oh fuck, oh wow. And that's why Nolan movies stick with you. You think about it, you're left with like, you're left like, it's like you're bungee jumping. It's like, you know you're about to be thrown off a cliff, and then you've got the guy that's running the bungee jump, he grabs you by the collar, and he goes to throw you, but he pulls you back at the last second, I can't speak right now, and then you're like, whoa, and then your heightened emotions are up and everything's going crazy. Not Venom 3. I'm done talking about this. I'm going crazy. I can't speak, I'm rambling, I'm sorry. This movie sucks. Don't make another one. They tease more. Don't do it. Venom is dead. Rest in peace. See you next time.